Park in the Corvette. There's Park in a car that you used to drive, David.
Well, that's the Corvette I finished 8th in the 1984 season. And of course, with Elliott jumping the start like he did, of course, it pulled his entire row through, including Larry Park. So we're going to see some field shuffling, I would think, as some of the faster cars who got left behind there are going to try and make their way towards the front.
Well, notably, the Mercures that started first and third are back in 5th and 7th positions right now, so they've got a lot of catching up to do, and that's certainly one of the stories that's going to unfold early in the race, because there's not much time in a 100-mile race like this to lay back, and especially on a track like this, David, where it's hard to pass.
Well, exactly. People always ask me what strategy I'm going to take in a race, and basically, unless it's like 500 miles or longer, really in a race like this, the only strategy is to get out in front and stay there.
Here's the look from inside Scott Pruitt's machine as he tries to struggle from 5th spot. He's putting a move on Neifel here, dives to the inside, pushes Neifel out of the way, and makes that right-hander in perfect style to move up into 4th spot. Nice piece of driving.
Well, that's turn 11. That's a favorite place for overtaking here. 7 and 11 is the place to overtake. And, of course, he did that right in front of Red Poling and all the other people from Ford, so they'll no doubt be very happy as well.
In the yellow, Les Lindley is putting a lot of pressure here on the second-place automobile of Larry Park, the red, white, and blue Corvette. Lindley looking for a place to get by, and as you can see, he's having his fair amount of trouble because that Corvette takes up an awful lot of road. I think we're going to get another look here at the replay of the Scott Pruitt move from the outside of the car.
There you see Pruitt moving down to the inside. In fact, they're all trying to move down on echelon to the inside, but Pruitt is staying down the inside. Neifel, for some reason, just gives a bit of a lurch to the left here. Just lets Pruitt get inside as they come around that tire, those tire markers on the inside there on the apex of the corner. But Pruitt does an excellent pass. Neifel getting just a little bit sideways there as he realizes that Pruitt squeezed inside him, and Pruitt's through and away. And
it was all clean. I believe I said that he pushed his way through there when we saw it for the first time. No contact, a clean pass, and a nice piece of driving by Pruitt, who now goes to the inside on Lindley. And again, that's up at the other end of the track at the other hairpin there.
Does the same thing again. Lindley left the door open just a bit wide for old Pruitt there. Pruitt made a quick dash up that straight up to turn 7 and nailed him just going into that hairpin.
The story here in the early going, very definitely Scott Pruitt running third, closing in on Larry Park in that Corvette. And let's set the book straight on Mr. Hobbs here. He finished 8th in the series in that Corvette right there, but prior to that had been the series champion in the Camaro. The Chevy power on a big racetrack like this, the non-turbocharged engines, no match at this moment for Elliott Forbes Robinson in the Porsche, who is blitzing away from the good 6-car battle here for 2nd spot. Forbes Robinson very excited about this new ride this year. Had a good season last year, finished 4th in a Buick Somerset, but the Porsche he feels really has the potential to win races. An early trip to pit road for 56 Ron Esau. We mentioned he started at the back of the field. That Winston West stock car experiencing problems early on, and he goes to pit road.
There we see Scott Pruitt now right up to Larry Park as they come through these fast sweeps. This is coming into turn 10. Was he going to set himself up here for the short dash from 10 down to 11 and try and do the same to Larry Park as he did earlier to Neifel? Yeah, he's got himself inside, yeah, and he's taking the inside line again. Larry Park left the door very wide open for him there. Got himself out into the slippery stuff as well as they exit the corner.
Did Park see him coming? I mean, he left that door, as you said, literally wide open.
Well, it certainly looks that way. I mean, he should have probably blocked him off a bit more if he could have done, but now, of course, he's through and away.
And so that moves Pruitt up into 2nd spot. I think we're going to get the opportunity to find out more about that Ron Esau story. Let's check with Bob Barsha down on pit road.
Here in the pits, NASCAR Southwest champion Ron Esau, one of 3 NASCAR stock car drivers in this race, has got big problems. Something is broken under the hood. He's got oil everywhere, and the crew can't seem to figure out where it's coming from. It looks like it's going to be a long pit stop for a NASCAR champion in his first Trans Am effort.
A long pit stop, a short race. He made only a couple of laps, and in that couple of laps, the story in this one has been Scott Pruitt. He has come from 5th starting spot, roaring through this field. He's the only man in the top 10 who's made a significant pass at this point, and he is definitely the guy we're keeping our eyes on here in the early laps of this 100-miler at Sears Point Raceway. His goal will now be to close in on the leader, Elliott Forbes Robinson, and try to take the lead. We'll see if he can do it as coverage continues on for the hairpin here at Sears Point. And they're all chasing Elliott Forbes Robinson's Porsche as they stack them through their single file. Pete Halsmer's on the move here, David.
Yeah, he's up to 3rd after that slightly dodgy start of his. It looks to me like he's just going to go around the inside of Larry Park there in turn 1. Yep, the superior power of the Mercure there telling, I'm afraid, as he goes up into that turn 2 and 3 complex, now lying in third spot.
And that will put the Mercurs second and third. He closes in on his teammate Scott Pruitt, who in turn has put Elliott Forbes Robinson squarely in his sights. And if you've just joined us, these two guys both started well back in the field in the Mercurs. They got bad starts, but Elliott Forbes Robinson has been out front all the way. Let's go to pit road and Bob Varsha.
Well, it's a rough start for NASCAR Southwest Tour champion Ron Esau, who came into this race to help bump up the field a little bit and give the NASCAR stockers a chance to run these cars against their fiberglass-bodied sisters in Trans Am Racing. Ron, what happened?
I don't know for sure. We just blown oil out the breathers. We hadn't had a problem all during practice, and first lap, he's blown some oil out.
Well, it's a rough introduction to Trans Am Racing for Ron Esau.
Well, meanwhile, up at the head of the field, things are getting rough for Elliott Forbes Robinson. David, those Mercurs have closed in and are absolutely all over him here.
Well, they certainly have. Elliott had the chance when he had a clear track to make a break for it. He obviously didn't, and the Mercurs have definitely wound him in, after, especially Pete Halsman, after that slightly dodgy start. And as we come up to turn 7, they really are pressing him very, very hard at this stage in the race.
This Porsche 944 is new to the series. In its debut, it sat on the outside pole just as it did here today. It set the fastest lap in that race, but then it had a cam problem. Today, EFR is hoping that a new car might go the distance, but obviously you expect teething problems with any new machine. On the other hand, when you've got Porsche behind that machine, you know that it's going to be a good weapon. The Mercurs are proven. Here's the view from inside Scott Pruitt's car as he tries to reel in EFR, but not really trying to make a pass here, David.
Well, they're coming through that turn 10 complex, which, as I say, leads down here to a really good passing spot. Pruitt is not making any attempt. He's not quite close enough yet, and he may be content to follow EFR for quite a long way yet. There's no point in leading if you can keep in second spot.
We got a good look at the orange Les Lindsley Camaro there. He is actually closing in on the 3 turbocharged leaders, and that's impressive. That's the big Chevy V8 that's been part of the Trans Am Series history literally from the outset. Now the march of technology and the turbocharged cars have taken. Oh, in trouble. That's Jimmy Insolo spinning on the racetrack. Bang! Into the tire wall goes Steve Barber. Barber apparently trying to avoid the Insolo spin, and he really clobbered the wall. Pruitt perhaps will take the opportunity to try to jump out front anticipating a yellow. Maybe not. We'll see.
Of course, he probably doesn't know the accident's happened as yet, so these guys are just racing away. I don't see any yellow flags out there. They're obviously racing pretty hard as they come up to 7. Pruitt closing in on EFR there again. Obviously, the Porsche is going very, very well today, and Halsman's right up with them, as is Les Lindley. Les, of course, took a bit of time to get around Larry Park, but having done that, he's definitely catching up with the lead group. There we see Jimmy Insolo spinning again. It looks as if he might have lost an engine or something first, but he does a great job there. Spins within his own car length. Oh, there's 6 out of shape. And there's number 78. That is Steve Barber, who unfortunately gets caught out by the oil that Insolo's car left on the track. There you see the oil flag, that yellow and red stripe flag.
And there's the smoke, yeah. He definitely lost something going into the corner, perhaps an engine, perhaps an oil line. And then it made it interesting for the guys who were behind him. He did a nice job of saving it.
He did a tremendous job, and of course, if you're going to lose an engine on this track, that's about the worst place to do it because it is the fastest corner here.
There's the hard impact for Steve Barber. The good news is that all the drivers are okay. The bad news is they will, in fact, have to bring this field under yellow to clean up the mess back there. And I would suspect that here the oil on the racetrack is the bigger problem than the debris on the racetrack. They're going to clean up quickly, and we're going to take that opportunity to take a further look at that 944 Porsche with Bob Varsha.
You won't find many people on the Bendix Trans Am Trail who feel sorry for Jack Roush and Lincoln Mercury. After all, they've won 3 straight manufacturers' championships. But think for a moment. Just about the time they make the Turbo Mercure into a consistent winner, along comes the biggest name in turbo technology for racing around the world, Porsche, and their new Porsche 944 Turbo. Tom Seabolt is 944 project coordinator for Porsche North America.
And we just want to be able to provide a race car that someone can pretty much buy turnkey and go out and race it and be competitive.
At $120,000 per car, campaigning the 944 is not inexpensive. New Zealander Bruce Jenner was able to put the package together with sponsorship from international tech